If you are looking to land your very first or your next paid speaking engagement, then this video is for you because that's exactly what I am going to show you how to do. And it's funny because a lot of people think that you have to have the best website or you have to show live on Instagram and show up in all these different places. It's all about the marketing. It's all about how you look. And that is not untrue, but there's actually a better way to go about landing your first gig. I'm gonna show you how I landed my very first gig and how I'm still landing gigs to this day. And it's really not as hard as you think. And let me just make sure that I clarify who it is that I'm speaking to. I'm speaking to the person who knows that you have a message inside of you, right? You know that there's something that I've got to get onto the world. I can empower so many people. I can impact so many people. I just need a chance. Has anybody else had that feeling? Like, I just need an opportunity. I just need a chance. But it doesn't matter that I've written books. It doesn't matter that I'm speaking for free. It doesn't matter I'm speaking in churches. It doesn't matter that I'm speaking in schools and classrooms and not getting paid to do it. People aren't giving me the opportunity to help. And then you start to get frustrated. Let me know if that's you. You're frustrated because you know that there is, like, God put this in your heart to go empower the world. You've been through some things, you've experienced some things, you've had some hardships, and you just know that your testimony is going to help somebody else. Or you just know that the information that you learned as you slaved in school is going to be able to help set somebody else free. And you said, I just want to speak. I just want to speak life. But then you reach out to schools and you're like, oh, no, thank you, not this time. You reach out to corporate and say, oh, we don't have the budget. Come on, you don't have the budget. You don't have the budget. You got the budget for everything else, but you don't have a budget for speaking. So I get it. I understand your frustration. That's actually exactly where I was. And I had to try to figure out, how am I going to get paid to speak? So if we're just meeting, I'm Darryl Williams Jr. and speaking is what I do. I've been doing it for years. And it's funny because I was the type of person that always, from the time I was a little kid, always speaking, always find myself on the stage with a microphone or something of that nature. And it wasn't until within the last decade that I finally maximized that to huge stages for thousands of people, international audiences, where I'm able to really help people with the words that I say. The secret is that you actually probably already know those contacts. And let me show you what I mean. Okay. There's for me, I'm going to walk you through my very first speaking engagement, how I got it, but then how I kind of leveraged it to get booked to speak consistently. But this is a game that you can run these three things. And I promise your next speaking gig is right around the corner. The first thing, let me set this up. The way that I got my very first speaking engagement is going to be point number one. And my very first speaking engagement came from a principal of a school who was somebody who I used to work with. So I started off my education as a math teacher, and I was in schools, and what I was doing in my classroom, if you know anything about my story, I was terrible. I was terrible when I first started teaching, but eventually I learned how to master the art and science of teaching. So I became a two-time teacher of the year. And then inside of my schools, what I started doing was doing professional development for our own staff. Right. So, Lauren, I don't know if you have an education background, but maybe you've been in a situation where you're doing professional development for your own staff because they recognize you're doing such amazing things. Right. And fast forward a couple of years, somebody who I used to work with was now a principal of a school. And she called me one night, and it was crazy because I was just sitting at home, just kind of minding my own business. And she called me one night, and then she said, Darryl, I remember that you used to speak and do professional development when we were teaching together. You know, what would you think, what would it cost for you to come out to Tennessee and do professional development for my staff? Listen, I never charged before. I didn't have a website. Like, I didn't know how to invoice. I didn't know any of these things, but she was asking how much would I charge. So here's immediately what I did. And let me know if anybody else has done the same thing. Immediately what I did when I started thinking about pricing was, okay, what are my expenses? How much is it going to cost for me to get out there? Okay, I have to buy a plane ticket. Plane ticket probably will be what, $500-$600, and I have to stay in a hotel for at least a night. Like, I'm thinking through all these things. I'm gonna have to Uber. I'm gonna need some. Like, I'm thinking about all these things. So I'm thinking it'll probably cost me $1,000 to fly out to Tennessee. So I said, okay, then I want to make a little money on top of that, give it a little buffer room, about $500. So then I opened my mouth and I responded $1,500. And on the other end of the phone, I heard her say, hey, y'all, I was so nervous. I was so nervous. I was like, "Oh my gosh, why did I say 1,500? I should have said 500. I should have said $250." Like, I'm thinking I completely overcharged. And then she said, I have $2,000 left in my professional development budget and I have to use it by the end of the year. Can I just give you the full 2,000? And I was like, yeah, yeah, we can make that work. I think I could take the 2,000. So that's how I landed my first gig. And it's funny, I was talking to somebody else earlier today. I was talking to Chase and telling him about the fact that I didn't have it all together. She said, "Cool, just send us over the contract." And I was like, "Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure." Real quick, what typically do you need to see on a contract? And she was like, "Oh, your typical contract." I've never done a contract before. I don't have a booking agent or anything like that. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, "Yeah, I mean, just but like typically, what is on a contract typically?" And she was like, just the name of the organization, the scope of what you plan to do, how much it costs, and your EIN number, like all these things. And I was like, yeah, I'm just jotting things down. EIN, guess I got to get one of those. I didn't know. But watch what happened. And this is how we're gonna land point number one. The reason why she asked me to come out and speak was because she had experienced the transformation I can provide in the past, which is why point number one for the way that you land your very first or next speaking engagement is to show up and crush the stages that you were already on. When I was just a teacher and doing professional development for free or for jeans passes or for, a leave early pass, I was doing the best that I could, and I was providing such a transformation that years later, she remembered, "This guy knows what he's talking about. This guy can help my staff. I'm gonna reach out to him and ask if he can come and help us out." So, you sometimes don't have to wait for your very next opportunity. Point number 1 is kill the opportunities you have now. Like, crush it. When you are given a chance to empower, whether it's 4 people, whether it's 40 people, whether it's 400 people, when you're given an opportunity to empower with your words, just do the absolute best that you can and show up in an engaging way, in an empowering way, and in a way that people are going to remember what you said and be transformed because of it. Okay, so that's point number one. And as a matter of fact, that's exactly who I help. I help people master the art and science of teaching so that your speaking sticks, right? So that you get not only do you crush the stages that you're on right now, but then you get asked to come back, right? So point number one, crush the stages that you are already um, on, and you that's how you can kind of build that authority so that you can start landing those paid speaking gigs.
I bet this happens to you. Your audience loves you. They tell you that you're brilliant, you're so inspiring, but your Stripe account looks like a roller coaster. Here's the secret. Applause doesn't equal income. But when you learn to teach in a way that transforms, that changes everything. That's exactly what you learn inside of the 3-day
Monetize Your Expertise Accelerator.
I'll help you build a system that keeps client, creates breakthrough, and stabilizes your income. It's super simple to sign up. The link is in the description below. I'll see you there.
Point number 2, reach out to a warm network of people. You probably already know the person that is going to be responsible for connecting you with your first or next speaking engagement. A warm network, meaning who are the people who already know that you can provide this transformation? Is there a school that you have affiliation with, a school maybe that you graduated from or that you went to? Are there people in your contact lists right now that are in charge of bringing in speakers for any type of organization? Sometimes we get so excited about looking at the next thing, the next big thing. Oh, I want to go speak to somebody who doesn't know me yet, or I want to go speak on these big stages. I want to be flown out to another city. There's probably somebody that is local, that it knows who you are, that hasn't tapped into your excellence yet. Let me shift the mindset just a little bit. Sometimes we feel like we don't want to reach out because we don't want to be a bother to somebody. We think, no, I don't want to sell myself. I don't want to sell to them. We have that image in our head that if we're reaching out to somebody, we are inconveniencing them. We're getting on their nerves. We're being annoying. Am I in the ballpark? Is anybody feeling that way? We're asking them for money. But I want you to switch your mindset and pay attention to it like this. Do you believe that the information that you have inside of you is powerful and can empower somebody else and help them through a situation? Watch this. If you have the unlock for them and you see somebody who is in pain and you know the solution that's going to help free them of their pain, don't position yourself as I'm being a nuisance to them or I'm annoying them if I reach out to them. Position yourself as the bridge from their pain to their success. You are literally helping them. They may not know that you have the solution to their problem. They want their problem solved. They don't want to be in depression. They don't want to be overwhelmed by AI, right? Like they want the solution to their problem. They just need to know that you have it. So by you reaching out to them, you say, man, I haven't talked to this person in 10 years, but I know that we went to college together and I know that now she's a school principal. She's probably in her school overwhelmed by AI. And Lauren, here you are with the solution that can help them. And just a simple text message, a simple DM, a simple reach out that says, hey, here's who I help and here's how I help them. And I just want you to again shift the mindset to realize that you are really freeing them and really helping them by serving them. And when you find that alignment, people will gladly pay you a price that you will graciously receive. The next thing that you want to do is solve a purchase order problem. I got this from my one of my mentors, Mr. Sean Woodley, Teach, Hustle, Inspire. He says, solve a purchase order problem. This is going to change the game for so many people because your messaging matters so much. When we put all these things together, you're going to see how easy it is to get that next gig. Because what I'm noticing in a lot of people that I've been coaching, and a lot of people that are getting into speaking, when we position ourselves to decision makers, I'm telling you, this is the unlock right here. When we position ourselves to decision makers that have the ability to bring us in and pay us to speak, we sell them what we want to talk about. We don't sell them what they need. Can I say that one more time? Because I want to make sure you get it. We don't sell them what they need. We sell them what we want to talk about. You say, yeah, I can come in and I share my story about resilience. I've been through a lot in my life. And when I was 3 years old, I got, we'd start going into the story, right? Right. And I help students with resilience. I can get there and tell them my story and they will be inspired and they'll feel more resilient. And what the decision maker is hearing, whether it is a principal, a district superintendent, what they're hearing is, okay, you're gonna come tell a nice story. People are gonna be inspired and engaged. How's that affecting my bottom line? Now that when you talk to students about resilience and they become inspired and motivated, that is going to lead to better school performance inside of school. That's going to lead to increased grades. That's going to, help mitigate chronic absenteeism. Like, you understand that the great, powerful things are going to happen based on the words that you say. You know this. But as you are communicating it to the decision maker, all they're hearing is, we're going to have a good time. We're going to be inspired and motivated, and they're going to go back to class, and I'm still going to have my problems. What Sean Woodley was mentioning when he said solve a purchase order problem is that when you are sitting with these decision makers and positioning yourself, after you do step 2, when you start reaching out to people who have the ability to bring you in, you have to understand exactly what it is that they are looking for. And you have to understand the needs that the organization has, the pain points that the organization is going through, so that you can position yourself as the solution to those pain points. Because is that is something that they will pay for. So when they say serve a purchase order problem, that means as they're looking for the funds to pay you with, it needs to come from a line item where they have access to funds. Do they have a resilience fund? A fund that says, I want to help our students become more resilient. A lot of times there's not a line item for resilience. A lot of times there's not a line item for trauma recovery. What there is a line item for is teacher retention. What there is a line item for is avoiding, student absenteeism. What there is a line item for is student achievement. You see what I'm saying? Like, how can you affect something that the school or the organization cares about that they have already associated a line item with? That's what is meant by solve a purchase order problem. I can fulfill a purchase order for something that is a budgeted item. Make sure that the problem that you solve associates to a problem that they have, and that you clearly articulate it so that they can equate it with a line item in their head, then they can pay you. So do these 3 things. 1, crush it on the stages that you are already on. It doesn't matter how big, it doesn't matter how small, just do your thing, crush it. It's going to do 2 things. 1 is helping you practice the skill so that you're preparing on the stages you're already on, so that you are prepared when the moments actually matter and you see those big stages. So preparing the stages that you're on right now, crush it. You never know what seeds you're planting, who's in the room that would eventually want to bring you in or book you and things of that nature. 2, rely on your warm network. You can communicate with people who already are familiar with you. I guarantee you, if you go through your phone contacts, if you go through your LinkedIn profile list, the people that follow you, if you go through the Instagram, the people that you follow or follow you, like send some DMs. Absolutely. And then lastly, so a purchase order problem is not just about what is it that you want to speak about. Serving a purchase order problem, right, Lauren? Like this AI implementation, it's huge right now, right? So many people are looking for how can we incorporate AI and technology and all those things, get really granular, hear what the school wants to do, and make sure you're solving that purchase order problem. All right, so here's your challenge, and I'll land the plane here. Your challenge right now, and I'm going to do it as well. I want you to reach out to 10 qualified contacts based on the information that we just shared. What I mean by qualified is that they already know you, right? Maybe they have heard you speak before, maybe they haven't heard you speak before, but they already know you or are in close proximity to your circle. Like maybe your children go to their school or they're a church member or somebody put you in contact with them. Reach out to 10 of those contacts. And statistics show that if you reach out to 10 of those contacts, you should be able to get on a call with 2 to 4. You should be. With if you depending on what you say, maybe we can cover that in a in an upcoming in a call, but you should be able to get on a call with 2 to 4. And if you price correctly, which we will cover on upcoming call, then you will be able to close. You should close in one of them. You should. Okay. Reach out to 10 warm leads and let's see what happens. All right. Shoot me a message or a DM if you're going to do it and or a comment on this. And I want to see who does it and what happens as a result of it. If you want to follow along with my journey, I'm actually going to send my 10 tomorrow. And I'm following along with my journey on Instagram. And I'll let you know in the stories.